Well, I have to say, this market is unbelievable. Today, I am up $35,267.38. We had two stocks that went up over 100% pre-market. The first stock I traded today was actually a gapper from early pre-market. It gapped up 100% about 4 a.m. It pulls back and then it rallies back up. I got a couple trades on that, and I got a little annoyed because on my first trade, I didn't take enough size. I was trying to be a little bit more careful because, let's face it, probably none of us slept well last night. I was up 3 times during the night checking to see what I was up late, and then I kept waking up to check to see what the results looked like. And so finally, when I got up around 5:30, I was exhausted, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna trade today, but let's take it a little slow. So I kind of put the guardrails on for that first trade. And then I got annoyed that I did that because that first trade ended up going up 50 cents a share for my entry, and I only had small size. So I was like, gosh darn it. I then kind of overcompensated by adding back too heavy near the top and going red on the stock, which can be the beginning of a spiral. Now, I'm fortunate that didn't happen today. We did still end up having some really good momentum, and I'm locking up another big green day. For those of you guys that have been trading for a while, I think it's easy for us to kind of lose sight of the fact that we've got to be so grateful for the opportunity to be able to trade in the market every single day. And the fact that when you get good at this, which of course, I'll remind you as always, my results aren't typical. There's no guarantee you'll find success. You may not get good at this. It requires a combination of strategy, but also some specific aptitudes that you need to bring to the table. But nonetheless, if you get to a point where you get good at this, to be able to make $500 in an hour, $1,000 in an hour, $5,000, $35,000, it's really remarkable, the potential that the market offers. Now, when I started trading, full disclosure, I did not come into the market hoping to become a millionaire. I really didn't even think that was like the furthest thing from my mind. And I think that's a good thing. I think if you come in hoping to become a millionaire, you may just kind of come in with the wrong, the wrong attitude. I came in with this approach of, well, I don't want to work a regular job. It's also the Great Recession and the job market is terrible. So my options are go get a job working $12, $15 an hour, maybe $17 an hour tops. And, realistically, even if you're doing $20 an hour, an 8-hour day, you're pulling in $160, right? $160, that's before tax. That's for a whole 8-hour workday. That doesn't include, the 45 minutes of driving to work, the 45 minutes coming home, whatever. So, at the end of the week, you're not pulling in that much money, all things considered, right? $1,000, not even. And you're losing all of this time to do that. And so I realized, well, there are other people in the market making money. Could I come into the market for a couple hours a day and just one entry, one exit? And I kind of realized, look, if I could pull 20 cents per share out of the market, 20 cents a share out of the market, and I did that with 2,000 shares, that's a $400 day. Boom. If I do that with 1,000 shares, it's a $200 day. If I do it with 10,000 shares, it's a $2,000 day. Now, that's not where I started. I started with a very modest goal of $200 a day. And just keeping it simple, focusing on trying to hit 10, 15, 20 cent per share winners. Not to take 1,000 trades, just take 1 or 2 really good trades each day. And, on a day like today, when you have a stock that goes up 200% in a matter of 10, 15 minutes, if you want to do it with 1,000 shares, do it with 1,000. If you want to do it with 20,000, you do it with 20,000. Next thing you know, you're locking up some really solid green days. In fact, I'm up more in the last 2 days than my goal was to make for an entire year when I got started. My entire year when I got started was a $50,000 goal for the whole year. It's 200 a day, 1,000 a week. So to be at a place where I can lock up that much potentially in one day is, I haven't lost sight of that, and I'm so grateful for it. And I recognize you guys are all trying to learn this, and it's a hard thing to learn, and it's frustrating to see, just the fact that there are people that I suppose make it look easy, and I've been doing this for a long time. It's not my intention to make it look easy. It's just that when you've been doing something for a long time, whatever it is, things become second nature for you, and it's it is easier for me than for someone who's brand new because I have the benefit of all the intuition that's gotten me to this point. But, it takes a long time to get here. So my hope for you guys is that I'm able to share with you, some tips and tricks along the way that help make your journey a little bit easier. Now, I will put a reminder out there that we do have our Black Friday sales coming up in just a couple of weeks, and that's our biggest sale of the year here at Warrior Trading. So what I encourage you guys to do, of course, you could just wait for that sale and end up joining us then. But why not give it a test drive and see what it's like to be part of this community before the sale? That way you know exactly what you're getting. So try a 2-week trial. It's $20. You can use this software, the scanners, the charts, the news feed. You'll be able to be in the chat room, listen to my broadcast, and really immerse yourself in this community for a couple weeks and see if this feels like it's going to be your home. Because I would love to have you really know the community you're becoming a part of before you take advantage of these sales. I think it's a great way to get started. So I'll put a link at the top of the comments and the description where you can do that 2-week trial. Okay, and for those that are maybe at the very beginning of the learning curve, I think on that page, you'll see a link to do a free class. I do have a free class that you could take as well. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the day. First trade of the day, DATS. This was our leading percentage gainer this morning. It was up over 100%. And when I looked at it, I was like, well, first of all, this thing ripped from $2 to $5 at 4 a.m. What also ripped at 4 a.m.? DJT, Trump Media, right? He won the election, fair and square. So boom, big spike on this right at 4 a.m. Well, what does DATS have anything to do with DJT? Not much, really. But DATS news headline from last week was they are coming out with an AI trivia podcast on Trump. And it's Trump trivia. So, the Trump trivia podcast by AI. I can't imagine it's going to be, who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. We probably won't even anyway end up seeing it. But nonetheless, that was the headline. And so that gave it a little spike, but it retraced the whole move, goes to 550, comes all the way back down. And then it kind of just grinds higher here, maybe for lack of anything else moving this morning. I'll say that I was a little concerned that we might not have a lot of good news headlines today because companies might not feel like putting out news the day after the election. It's just not a day that news maybe get a lot of attention because attention is so dispersed. And it's true, we had fewer headlines today. So nonetheless, this pops up, drops down, then starts to rally back up. So coming up to 7 a.m., top of the hour, when retail brokers come online, I'm watching for a trade, and I took this trade right here from 4 up to 450. The problem was, because I didn't sleep well last night, I told myself to start with small size. I bought 5,000 shares. That was my max position. It ends up going up to 450. I made like $1,200 on it. And then I add back at 450 full size, and it drops, and I go red on the stock. I'm currently down $292.40 on DATS, and that really kind of got under my skin. I was like, gosh darn it, I tried to trade with small size to keep myself safe. Now I missed a move. So then the next stock that pops up was AREB. AREB had news out yesterday. This one was on the scans yesterday. The float is less than 1 million shares. It's priced between 3 and 10, which is sort of the wheelhouse and the profile of what's been giving us some big moves. And when this started to pull away right here, I jumped in it pretty quick. It had already popped earlier and pulled back. It comes back up here, and I jumped in for the squeeze through 4. It goes from 350 up to 4, up to 450. I take some profit. It dips back down. It then rallies back up here to 450. It pulls back, and then it punches all the way up to 550, and it stalls out right here at 584. 584, the 200 moving average right there, boom, hits that level to the penny, and that was it. That was the high. So I ended up locking up $17,451.46 on AREB, and that gave me my cushion on the day. Now, I'll say I probably took a little bit too much risk on this, given the fact that I was red on the day before I took that trade. I honestly feel like this is one of the things with being sleep deprived. It's so easy to be overconfident and be like, I'm fine. And the next thing you know, you've taken a position with too much risk, and could be a deer in the headlights. Now, especially for a beginner trader. For a trader like myself with a lot of intuition, the intuition doesn't go away when I'm sleep deprived, but my ability to kind of regulate myself and, be conservative or hold sort of, not take too much risk is not always there. So took a lot of risk on a few trades today. AREB was one of them, and then the next one was SONN. Now, SONN, when this stock hit my scanners, I was too slow to pull it up quick enough to trade it. So it ends up going, it has news at 8:30, I think it was 8:30, bottom of the hour, and it rips instantly from 550 all the way up to $8-9 a share. The problem was it did it on light volume, and it hits 9, it drops down to 7, that's a 2-point drop. It bounces back up to 10, and I by this time I had pulled it up, but I didn't take this trade because the spreads and the whip was too big. I was like, I can't, I'm afraid of a rejection. It ends up pushing all the way up to 12, and I still don't trade it. I'm like, I don't know. It goes up to 13. I don't trade it at all. I haven't taken a single trade on it. I missed the whole move. It then pulls back. It pops back up to 12, and I took my first trade right here. Dip off of volume weighted average price, about 4,500 shares. So it goes from about 1080 right here all the way back up to 12. So got a nice trade there. Got myself up about $5,000 on that move. So starting to build a cushion. And then it pulls back here. We're under VWAP, and I'm going to take a break of VWAP for the break over 11 right here. We get that pop back up through 12, working my way up, adding a little more profit up to 7,000 on the stock, up to 8,000 to 10,000. It pulls back again. It dips down, comes back up once again right here. I take that trade, and look at this. We pop up to 12. Nice move. But then we sort of dip back down, back under 11, sideways. We come back up. We cannot break through 12. There is a wall at 12. Interestingly, on this, we had gap fill on the daily at $12. So right here was gap fill at 12. So we came into this gap right there at 12. We still had room to the 200, but gap fill there, technical level. So I finally, it pulls back again, it comes back up, and I got back in. So it'll be right here. So it comes back up right here. We dip down, and I got this trade right here. We finally break 12. We go all the way to 13. Boom. That was actually my biggest trade on SONN. It's a full $1 a share from 12 to 13. That was solid. The only problem was it didn't hold the move. It came right back down. And so as it turns out, on the 5-minute chart, we didn't have a single candle that was able to close over $12. We only have topping tails. It just wasn't able to hold that level. It's a real shame. But nonetheless, it is what it is. So it's pulled back at the open. DJT is also pulled back at the open. So, that's fine. But the overall market is at all-time highs, the overall market. So S&P, well, we'll look at DJT for a second. So S&P 500, what I kind of predicted would happen if Trump won. I sort of saw, two outcomes for this election, or maybe three. So the first was that Trump would win, and if he won, he would certainly declare victory, right away, and the market would go up because short term that means corporate taxes are not going up, so profits for these big mega corporations are going to stay strong, hopefully, and we're not going to see probably as much big regulation on Wall Street investment banks, so they're like, this is good for them. So generally the market responds well to a Republican short term. Long term, the market historically has performed better when a Democrat has been in office. That is a fact. But Trump's not your typical Republican. We know that as well. So it's hard to say what these next 4 years are going to look like. But, there's certainly some concerns. I saw The Economist, put out their endorsement of Harris, saying she was the lesser threat to the economy. They said she's not a good basically said she's not a good candidate, but they thought she's a lesser threat than Trump because if he does something with tariffs or this and that, it could be very disruptive. And, I that's not my area of expertise, so I don't know what to say on all that. But nonetheless, my expectation of the market reaction was that if he won, the S&P would move higher, and that has been the case. My concern, if Harris won, was that Trump would still claim victory, and we would have the same thing we had in 2020, which is that he would say he won, but then we would have a recount and this and that, and we wouldn't really know who did win for a while, and the market might pull back on the disappointment that if Harris wins, then, we're probably going to see higher taxes, and that's not going to be favorable for these big companies at the very least. But the market maybe over the next 4 years, similar to how it's been, which over the last 4 years has been, pretty good. So somewhat predictable, but with increased taxes, likely, maybe more regulation, reigning in Wall Street, this and that. So, not great. And then, of course, if she won with a huge blowout, my thought was that there wouldn't be any concern that a recount would make any difference, but that the market would still drop a bit just on the realization of this higher tax environment. So anyways, I didn't take any trade based on that. I'm not interested in trading that kind of, event. I just think it's too much of a gamble and I don't feel the need to gamble. So I didn't take a trade based on it, but that was what I was thinking going into it. And that I had expressed that in previous episodes and recaps. So now this is where we're at. And what's going to happen over the coming months? I mean, I don't know. I'm really not sure. Obviously, Elon Musk's role in the new administration will be interesting. Tesla having a very strong day today. It's up. What percent is it up? It's currently up 11%. It's a huge move for this company, for this stock. So, him being friendly with the administration is no doubt gonna trickle back in some way to benefits for Tesla. I can only imagine. It's sort of well known that Elon Musk was never invited to the White House. Biden kind of snubbed him, and for whatever reason didn't really like him, and seemingly. So I think that the investors are responding favorably to Elon Musk's potential role and spotlight in a Trump administration in some capacity and what that could mean for Tesla. Although short term, it would probably mean less focus on running Tesla. But, anyways, we could say that anyways with SpaceX and all the other things he's got going on with Twitter and this and that. He still seems to be doing okay. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, the rest of the year, still Democrat in office, but now we've got looks like control of the Senate, control of the House, this big change, right? So we've got a lot of change coming here in the new year, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Short term, I think that we're going to continue to see a pretty strong market for the rest of the year. That's what I'm expecting right now. So I'm going to try to put the pedal to the metal, be aggressive, capitalize as much as I can, and if I can keep locking up $25,000, $35,000 days, I'm going to ride that wave. I don't know how long it'll last. As I've said before, when it's hot, it feels like it's never going to get cold again. And when it's cold, it feels like it'll never be hot again. So these are the ups and downs of trading. But all of a sudden, this year went from good to pretty great. And so now I'm looking forward to seeing what the next, 7 weeks of the year hold for us and where I can finish this year. Just in the last 90 days, I'm sitting at profit of $930,000 in 90 days. Wow. That's quite something. Not to say that the year hasn't been bad. It's been a good year, but year to date right now, I'm sitting at, let's see, 1.25 million year to date. Average daily gain is 6,100. But if we look at the last 30 days, I suppose we could do the last 30 days. Average daily gain is 20,000 a day. That's the difference between a hot market and a colder market. It was colder at the beginning of the year, and it's been heating up as the year's gone on. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continue to trade. I'll be showing up every single day, as always. That's what you guys can expect from me. And I'd love to have you guys join us and see what it's like to be part of this, trading community here at Warrior Trading, and to see how you like this software that I've built out. I started building the software in 2017, so it's been, a real big project building it out over the last 7-8 years. And I know many of you guys are already using it every single day, but yeah, give it a shot. See what you think. I think you'll be impressed. All right. So reminder as always, look, guys, trading is risky. My results aren't typical. I have been doing this for a long time. So I encourage you to practice trading in a simulator before you put real money on the line. Take it slow. The market will be here for you. It's not going anywhere. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys back at it tomorrow morning.